Ready to roll? Let's
Absolutely.
get started. Question number one. Threads is introducing a new feature that allows users to tag topic using hashtags, a core element of the Twitter experience. Unlike Twitter, Thread limits each post to one tag to reduce spam. In addition, the number sign will not appear in the colored tag. Testing will begin in Australia, with Meta planning to make changes based on user feedback before expanding to more countries. Question: will these hashless hashtags be cool or somewhat confusing? Duncan, what are you thinking? Or Ian, we'll start with you.
All right. I think that removing the octothorpe symbol itself will have zero effect. You can still see that it's going to be a tag because it will be highlighted in blue and it will still be clickable. But I think that the limiting it to one tag per post is the thing that may have an impact here. And it makes me wonder if our Meta trying to move towards a tagless, this is a kind of halfway house between having as many as you want. Hashtags were originally designed to group content, and having only one tag isn't always appropriate. So, or you may need more. So I did wonder if they're trying to move towards a tagless future where you can just search. Because like when we're searching email, for example, you don't use hashtags to group your emails. You just search and it finds it. So is that the future? We will see.
Duncan, are you liking a hashless future?
I mean, it's sort of moot. It doesn't really matter. I mean, Threads was built literally out of the turmoil of Twitter and X and Elon. I think they just, Meta had it in their back pocket this whole time, and they're like, well, if we're going to launch it, might as well just launch it now. So the fact that they're starting to adopt some of the characteristics of the platform to try and, bring over users doesn't shock me one way or another. I mean, I find these tech companies are kind of cannibalizing each other constantly anyway. Reels is a really good example that used to be on TikTok, and now it's literally everywhere. It's on YouTube. It's on Google took it over. Meta took it over. So I think when you get a good idea in tech, people are going to copy it. Does it need to have a hashtag? No. As long as the functionality of it works. I mean, realistically, to me, these hashtags have always just been internal links. It's a way to keep people on the platform longer. It's the same thing of writing a piece of content and linking to another piece of content on your website. That's all it really is. But if it works and people are used to it and that behavior is there, it makes sense to me.
I've always viewed hashtags as a bit like the Dewey Decimal System. I don't know if either of you know what the Dewey Decimal System is.
Enlighten us.
Ian, you might. Ian, do you know what the Dewey Decimal System is?
Is it to do with logging library books?
It is correct. That's how they used to keep track of library books in a library. And it basically was this really convoluted system. So when you had to figure out where a book was, you went on a certain shelf and there it was. It's kind of what hashtags are, right? It groups it by topics, etc. I think the thing that's more interesting for me isn't the fact that the hash sign isn't going to be there. It's that they're limiting it to one tag per post, which when you think of a lot of posts out there on X or Twitter or wherever else you might see these hashtags being used, people are loading them up, right? But to only be able to use one, I think that's kind of interesting. And I'm actually more curious to see what that ends up looking like, as opposed to it's still a link, it's still colored, it just doesn't have the little.
Could be kind of similar to Reddit in the sense that
Yep.
they're trying to group things into Reddit has their subreddits, which are basically groups of content. I think that could be what they're trying to do. So if you search one specific word, but I mean, the curious thing for me is, we used to always have data on what are the most popular hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
So are we as a society going to know what those are? Are we going to just use random ones like we always have? Or is it going to be a categorized system where you have to choose the hashtag without the hashtag version that matches best with your post? I don't know. I mean, we'll see where it goes, but I think it's interesting. But for me, it just makes sense. It's just kind of like a user trait that we're used to. So it's a natural evolvement of the platform.
I don't know if we'll ever use the word hashtag as much in a single little segment ever again than we did just now. So congratulations, everyone.